Hello friends, it's Jenkins here. I'm with Dota Alchemy, and I have a very special guest today, Newsham, Jason Newsham Dota from Leviathan in Team Red. Oh wait, that was me. And we are going to give you some first impressions for this new hero, Grimstroke. So hey Newsham, what's up, man?
What's up?
Nothing much. I just played a game. People banned this hero, but I screwed around with it a bit. Looked at the numbers. He seems pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, he seems really good. I think people don't really understand how it works yet because they didn't really bother reading it too much.
Oh, for sure.
He seems really good. He does a lot of damage. His Q is very OP, it seems, at least level 1.
It seems to me that each of his abilities do a lot of damage at level 1. That's just something that I always look at when a hero gets added to a patch, just because that's always the first thing that gets nerfed, because they always put the values like way too high because they don't want to put in a hero that's really boring, and if it's really overpowered, well then it's fun to play and people play it and get a feel for you know what the hero actually is going to do in a game, and then they can nerf it and make it more balanced. So I guess we can just go over what his abilities do. He has this Q ability, it's called Stroke of Fate. It's very simple. It's kind of opposite to Windranger's Power Shot. He just does a little bit of a charge thing and then sends out some straight line of damage. It also does a bit of a slow, except the more targets that it hits, the more damage it does, and you can see the bonus damage per target is pretty significant as you level it up, and it's also a really low cooldown. And then he has this...
One thing I wanted to note, sorry to interrupt you,
no problem.
His Q actually isn't necessarily just a straight line. I've been watching people cast it thinking it's going to go straight. In front of him, there's a slight gap. I don't know how else to really explain it. It shoots at like an angle. So
I see that.
Basically, there's like a dead zone in front of him, and I see a lot of people missing his spell. Point blank, at least.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But long range, it's basically just power shot, reverse mechanic with a little bit of a slow.
Yeah, and then you're right. It is at a bit of an angle too.
Yep. The one game I saw the most successful Grimstroke played so far was by MJW, and he played as a 5, and he laned with mid 1's Juggernaut. I thought that was a really cool combination. At the level 1 rune, he hit 2 people with the Stroke of Fate, and I didn't realize how much slow it actually does at level 1. Pretty insane. So
yeah, that's pretty
basically
crazy.
He hit a 2-man nuke that hits for 120 damage and slowed for 2 seconds for 50%.
And the Jug
so the
spin
Juggernaut got
too.
a very easy spin, yep.
Yeah.
Jug actually ended up dying, but I believe it was a 2-for-1 trade at the bounty runes, so that was pretty cool. His right clicks are crazy, and he has very good stats.
His stat gains seem pretty good too. I'm at level 7 here on this guy and 71 damage, so 3.3 int per level. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty high stat gain.
Yeah, when I looked at his stats, the first thing I was thinking that he would potentially be something like I don't know, like a Necro mid or something, or like
good strength too.
High damage pick off nuker with like decent stats.
Yeah.
Because his animation's actually pretty good. That was the first thing I wanted to check. Is his range, his damage, his stats. They're all pretty good. I think he has 2 armor base, level 1. So.
Good,
Seems
very
like
very good
hero.
range. Yeah, super solid. Seems like he'd be good for just trading in lane. So the W ability is called Phantom's Embrace, and it sends this like little spirit out, and it just latches onto somebody, and you can kill it, kind of like a gyro rocket. There's a certain timer on it, and if the timer, you know, completes its duration, it's going to explode basically and do a bunch of damage.
Not only that, I believe it refreshes the cooldown, so you can spam it again.
Yeah, so you can spam it again. So there's not much like this in Dota, to be honest. It's hard to compare this to something other than like the gyro rocket, somewhat. It's pretty interesting. I think this is probably his weakest ability. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, but...
See, that's what I thought. And then the most successful, again, I saw so far was MJW, and his build is actually 1-4-4, which I thought was pretty interesting. But he was playing a 5 role.
Yeah.
And basically he used the W to harass. And basically when people would go to hit it, I felt like it kind of made a little bit of space. Not only that, but as soon as I saw him at level 6, I saw how he used it. And I didn't even think about this, but basically how the ult works, not to like get too far ahead here. Single target spells are basically duplicated on whoever it is attached to.
Oh, so you put 2 of them on.
Yep. So basically when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I guess that is the only spell that is a single target.
Cool.
You know, so it made a little bit more sense when I saw it in action versus just seeing it on paper. I was like, I don't get it. Because he's like, you know, a new hero, but
yeah,
it seemed to work out very good.
It's always weird when there's a new hero you just don't quite understand, and then you see it in action, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, seems pretty cool. His third ability is, I think you compared it to Ion Shell. You basically throw a shell on somebody. It's targetable, so you can put it on somebody else. It does a little bit of damage over time to people in the area, and then it explodes. And the explosion stuns, very much like the Dark Willow stun that she has, the AoE stun, where it ticks down and then it stuns eventually. It's kind of like that, except on an ally, and then it also does damage as it's progressing and waiting for that stun to come out. It gives a bit of movement speed too as well, actually. So this ability seems like it kind of does a lot.
It's a really good defensive spell. That's why I think he maxed it first as the 5-roll Grimstroke. And basically what he would do to use it is like, if someone ever jumped in and say they got stunned and they expected, like for example, he's playing with Juggernaut. The Juggernaut tried to blink in and ult one time and he actually got stunned up. And they only had physical damage, so he put that on him.
Oh right, it protects from physical damage as well.
Yeah. So it says, it's kind of vague. It says attacks, yeah. And so I've seen a lot of people, they're trying to use it as like a damage immunity, but that's actually not how it works. One thing to note too is you can't use it on magic immune units. So like, for example, I was thinking, oh wow, that sounds really OP with the juggling, because they're gonna do, you know, like the spin combination with like the ink swell.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is I tried it in a lobby, can't cast it on magic immune units, and it silences you, so obviously you can't spin. But it still is a good link combination, basically.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think you're right that seems like a really good defensive ability where like you don't really want that unit to cast anything because like they're getting gone on, so you just put it on them, disengage.
That too, but it does like this little mini damage thing, you know, and the longer somebody's around it and takes damage from it, the longer they get stunned. So it's kind of like a zoning ability too. So when people get gone on, if you use that on them, if they're not, you know, they don't want to be taking damage. Not only that, but it kind of deters them, and if, again, they don't walk away, then they get stunned and take a little bit of damage, so...
Right.
Oh, also, it's only 3 seconds, so when you think about it compared to something like another ability that makes so you don't take physical damage, or, like, you know, disarm someone, I was thinking of it a little bit like an Oracle, as like a save. It's like very similar cast ranges. The difference is, again, Oracle, it's like, I think 6 seconds or something like that, so, like... I felt it was a much better defensive spell because it doesn't really like irritate somebody that much.
Yeah, I can see where like the whole combo comes in with this hero. Like something that you can do. This seems like a hero that would be great to pair with other heroes. Like you can do combos by yourself, but I feel like if you put the ink swell on somebody else, have them go in, and then as they're going in, you do a stroke of fate to slow them, and then pull 2 people together, throw 2 of the illusions or phantoms or whatever they are at people, and then because they're going to be stunned by the ink swell and because they're pulled together with the soulbind, you're basically going to make it so that you are just doing all of this like crazy AoE damage, and there's like these fucking phantoms everywhere. Like I can see how there would be some really cool combos with this hero basically.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate obviously is important. Arguably the coolest thing about this hero, in my opinion, when I first saw it.
I would say it's the most unique part about it.
It's you basically just put a Slark leash between 2 people. And instead of being attached to the ground, it's attached between those 2 people, and they can't move away from each other past a certain distance.
So what I was thinking is they couldn't move from like the area where it's casted, but I messed around with it, and you can run away with each other. It's just you are slowed.
Yeah.
So the higher rank it gets, the more slow it is.
Yeah. So you're slowed, and that slow actually scales pretty significantly. If you put that on people and then throw the ink swell on you, and then just run in or on somebody else, like you're basically guaranteed with the 45% slow to get that. To get the ink swell off, and then also it makes it so that if any single target spells are cast on either of the heroes that you're binding together, it duplicates it, which is pretty insane. So like
one thing that I wanted to make a little quick note. I don't know if you said this, but it also works with items. Anything that is a single target, pretty much like use. So sheep, E-Blade Dagon. I thought that would be a really cool one. Like for example, I was reading some little like Reddit theory crafting, and people were thinking that like it might be really good to pair with something like a Necrophos, where you can do like a double
Reaper Scythe with Dagon. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, no, that seems like insanely good. Definitely like super interesting hero. So his talents, okay. So you were saying that you thought his talents were really good.
Finish up the ult before we move on, since it's like, you know, we're going in order. The main thing that came to mind though when I thought about his ult is there are a lot of things that block these single target spells, you know, like Lincoln's Lotus Orb, or even something like Aeon Disc could be pretty annoying to play against. So I don't think it will be as... I see a lot of people saying he's going to just be OP. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case or not yet. It's too hard to tell, but just in theory, it does seem like it's not going to be that good. It will be good, but I don't think it... I think there will be plenty of ways to play around it. So.
Oh, I think it reveals invis, if I'm not mistaken. Like if you latch two people together, it looks like they can't go invis. Yeah, that's crazy. Cool. Okay.
That's cool. So it's almost like a mini route in that sense.
Mini route, yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so.
Do you know if you can like storm zip or anything? Like, can you break the leash? Like, for example, you have like a, I don't know, an Ember Spirit Remnant or Spectre.
Let's see. Wow.
Can you like ult away? Can you clock ult away? Things like that. Or Magma Skewer, even Blink, I guess.
Yeah, Storm can break it.
Oh, okay.
So it's once again very similar to Slark Leash in that sense, I guess. Probably use the same mechanic. Okay, talents. You were saying that you really like his talents, and when you saw them, you immediately knew he'd be good.
Basically, the first thing I did was I read the abilities, kind of skimmed it. I didn't go into a lobby yet, but I was just reading everything, and after seeing his stat gain and his talents, I pretty much determined this hero will be at the very least viable. So that's the first thing I want to know is this hero going to be OP? Is he going to be shit? Is he going to be viable? Or what kind of roles is he going to be played in? And basically from looking at his talents, in my opinion, I think he's going to be probably played as, I would think a 4 role first.
I think 4 because he does enough damage like a Willow.
I think he does have potential to play as something like a 2 or a 3, maybe like a Necrophos.
I'm not 100% sure if that's necessary though. I feel like he falls into the same category as Willow, where like you can get a lot as a 4. You can get a lot as a 4.
I think he would be better as a support, but I already can tell people will try it.
For sure.
He's an int hero.
I know I will.
I can see the potential for it because he does have a lot of spammability and his stats are very good. Just with this meta being so focused around lanes, I think there's just a lot of merit.
Does a lot of damage.
His Q just seems very OP.
Yeah, I agree. So level 10, he has 90 gold, 30 movement speed. 90 gold talent at level 10, in my opinion, is just like utterly broken. We all know how good movement speed is. I mean, it's basically like a free Midas at level 10, and if you're playing anything other than 5 roll, and hell, even 5 roll these days, like you're gonna get that level 10 fairly easily. Even 5 rolls get that level. 15, 125 cast range and spell amp. I feel like the cast range is just so good because you would want to build these like single target castable things anyway because of the ultimate, and because all of his abilities are point and click, so the cast range just seems really broken. But also he does a lot of magic damage, so.
Yeah, that's what I don't think you can go wrong with the level 15 talent. It's probably what to play per game.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking is with all these cast range talents and like spell amps and stuff, BC is level 25. Just going really hard into the Stroke of Fate. It seems like he'll be very hard to push into. It's a very long range, spammable nuke. I think it's a lower cooldown than Power Shot, so yeah,
5 seconds,
sure it'll be pretty hard to push into him.
Damn.
But again, I don't want to look too hard into higher level talents typically when it comes to if it's going to be like OP or just decent, because realistically you rarely will see 25 talents. That's why his level 10 talents stood out to me, at least.
No, level 10 for sure matters. The higher you go, the less it really matters. Unless something's like a core, like a super late game core or something. Okay. But even then, it doesn't really matter that much because you have to get there. So level 20, you have 2 hits to kill the Phantom or 600 Stroke of Fate cast range. I feel like from what you're saying, the Stroke of Fate cast range would be really good. But then again, 2 hits to that Phantom, like constantly throwing those out and getting it back, that seems pretty good as well. We all know like how annoying the Weaver bugs are once you max those out and get the talent. And same with like the gyro rockets, like it's pretty tedious to kill these like hit-based things, So
yeah,
I could definitely see that. And maybe it's overkill. Like if you already get the cast range, maybe it's actually overkill to get more Stroke of Fate range.
Well, the main thing I was thinking about that is I feel like the other spells aren't actually as strong as Stroke of Fate, but I could be wrong. Just from watching people play, I think the other spells scale better early, or not necessarily scale, but I feel like Stroke of Fate will scale better just because it has more range. Phantom's Embrace seems pretty underwhelming the times I've seen it, past like the first 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So seeing the cast range talent, or not the cast range talent, the more hits to kill the Phantom, I just don't see it being that good.
Yeah.
But who knows?
It's hard to.
Again,
it's hard
it is a single target, so it's the best case you're gonna have Soulbind, so you're gonna have 2 of the Phantoms out. But I don't know. I feel like the way you'll see this hero develop will be more towards Stroke of Fate spam. Just 5-second cooldown, potentially, you know, more than 300 damage nuke with an 80% slow. It just seems very good to me.
Oh yeah, one of the other things is the Phantom, it silences for its duration. I totally forgot about that. That's pretty good. Basically makes it so you like really want to kill that thing. Okay, then level 25, 50% Stroke of Fate damage, Ink Swell radius. Let's see what the damage is like. 50% doesn't seem like that much, to be honest, but it's amplifying as well the bonus damage per target. And is target just heroes, or it's enemies? It's any enemies. So if I like spawn a bunch of, or if I do it on creeps, let's see how much damage it does to this range creep. Oh, 715. Holy fuck. Okay, so yeah, it's any units. So like this hero is actually really good against Broodmother then, because it
Exactly.
So it's like a crazy anti AoE, or sorry, anti units hero. That's pretty crazy. So I would definitely say if you're against those heroes, even maybe not, the 50% Stroke of Fate damage is insane if you're good at hitting it, especially if you go for the Stroke of Fate cast range. The Inkswell radius, though, like 200 is pretty.
About the Stroke of Fate too is the animation's pretty good, and you can cancel it, so it can be pretty tricky.
Yeah, that is. Honestly, it seems a little bit hard to hit. Maybe not the hardest thing, but I mean, if you see him,
it's very similar to Power Shot.
If you see him winding up, you can literally just dodge in the angle that you know it's always going to go, because there's no randomness or anything. It's just it's guaranteed. Anyway, is there anything else you want to chime in about this hero? Anything you've seen in pubs?
No, I think the biggest thing is I feel like he's going to be a very good combination hero, just the way his spells work.
Yeah, I agree.
I see people trying it mid. It seems okay. Like, he's good at dominating the lane, but I feel like he's going to fall off just because he doesn't really scale that hard. But who knows? Like, the GPM talent will always help with, you know, just getting items. And you don't really need to have the greatest scaling through your abilities if you just get good items. So, who knows? We'll see. I think the main way you'll see this hero develop, though, is probably the 4 roll. I don't think he feels that good as a 5, but then again, best game I've seen him so far in was actually as a 5 roll.
Some heroes are so broken that they can just go in any role, and I feel like this hero is going to be like that for a little while.
Besides carry, there's no way.
Well, yeah, besides carry. I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, thanks for joining me, Newsham. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.